I'm at 27.
Hello, AVGL fans, and welcome back to the Smite Collegiate Championship. With me here again, I have my good buddy.
Hello.
And we are currently looking at KSU Thor losers versus Best Coast West Coast. And as we discussed before the game has started, we think this is going to be a really good game. So we're going to go ahead and introduce our teams here, starting with the order side, the left side of your spectator UI and the bottom side of your minimap. We have Pride on Raijin, I believe in the solo lane, Blue Boy King on Nemesis in the jungle, Citrus on Kepri as your support, Neath with Octica as your AD carry, and Zorka on Isis in the mid lane.
And in your other team, on the top side of your minimap and on the right-hand side of your spectator, you are playing for the Chaos side. It will be Best Coast, West Coast with Zorian in the solo lane as Guan Yu, not a Guan jungle. Man Ray will be your jungler as Osiris. Yaoi Sith will be playing in the mid lane as Giannis. Salza will be your support Ged. And Viper 196 will be your hunter Hoi Yi.
Minions have spawned.
And this looks like this pretty standard starts coming out from both sides. We have, doesn't look like there's any invades, but it does look like Man Ray and Zorian are starting at blue at mid camps, and it looks like they're going for the invade on the blue buff. But blue buff was already taken. Looks like they started blue buff and are going to the back camps, but they're still going to jump on him. Man Ray and Zorian running the curse being thrown. Looks like they're jumping on Pride. They get the slow. Man Ray going for the body block. Pride getting so much damage dumped into him. They have to dive the tower, and Man Ray picking up that kill, but he's going to die to the tower. But no damage is put on him, so it was a better trade for Best Coast West Coast than it was for KSU Thor losers. So it looks like there's actually pretty standard stuff. No aggression coming out from either side, as looks like we do have just me right now. Need Dylan to get back. So right now, looks like they're going to take their blue buff over on the West Coast, Best Coast, Chaos side. They're going to finally get their blue buff. And Zorka, Blue Boy King, actually, since
what a pretty lead.
They lost, because even though they lost, what's his name? They lost Pride at the beginning. They're still doing pretty good right now on farm. Pride actually being level 4, above Man Ray. Man Ray being level 2. Really interesting seeing that right there. So I'm surprised that Man Ray is so far behind. It looks like he's actually the jungler, so he wasn't able to get steady farm, while Zorian is actually... Oh, Man Ray being jumped on. The portal looks like it's going to be his saving grace right here. Blue Boy King and Zorka jumping on. Looks like they're not doing too bad right now. Meanwhile, in the solo lane, Zorian jumping onto Pride, not getting too much damage, and actually taking more than it was worth. Pride struggling to clear while Zorian is going to go, and looks like he's looking for the fire elementals, but he might switch over to that pig over there. Pretty standard farm coming out as per usual. There's just so many points in this game. Right now, West Coast, Best Coast, I want to say that they're ahead. Yeah, they're ahead slightly with Yaoi Stick just doing really well on farming with Yanis. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Man Ray and Yaoi Stick putting pressure, getting Zorka and Blue Boy under that tower right here. And there's not really an aggression. Pride had to back, and the dual lane is still just collecting farm. There hasn't been any real aggression. Everybody's still at about full health over in the dual lane. Meanwhile, Ping's coming out in the mid lane. Looks like they're going to try to secure this mid camp. Man Ray and Yaoi Stick both sitting here. I don't think Zorka's going to be able to contest, especially with Blue Boy going for that blue buff. and Zorian being in the jungle, taking those fire elementals. Not really any pressure. Man Ray standing here, putting a lot of pressure on this blue buff, not allowing them to get it, while Zorka comes over and hits the spirit ball, actually misses the spirit ball, but Pride goes in. The weakening curse coming out, Nemesis ulting out, Man Ray jumping out, and it looks like he's going to live, but Pride is taken out by Zorian. Meanwhile, Blue Boy King going to dash out, and really good trade, taking Pride. West Coast Best Coast doing really well to do that right there. So we still are waiting on my co-caster to come back, while it looks like they're just going to go back to farming. Best Coast West Coast still being ahead in the game right now, getting those 2 kills, being up by just about 1,000 gold, maybe 900, taking camps pretty effectively. Yaostick actually going into that portal when taking that red buff. Looks like the blue buff is finally going to be taken by Blue Boy, and they're going to take the red buff over with Zorka and Citrus. Finally, Pride's going to get a blue buff and not die immediately, so good for him. It really sucks being a solo laner and losing your blue buff. You really, that and losing your teleport after teleporting back. If you die right after teleporting, that's the worst feeling. It really like demoralizes you and like kind of sets you on the path to losing. Meanwhile, Zorian and Pride just kind of wave clearing. Zorian looks like he's gonna have the easier time here, being a level ahead and being Guan Yu with no way for Pride to actually stop him. Actually, he can stop him. Wow, I forgot that is a small mesmerize on the dash from oh, but Zorian going into the ultimate right now. Looks like the ultimate's going to come out from Pride too, and only one of them are going to hit. Only one of them is going to hit. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty even trade right there. Pride having a lot more health. Meanwhile, Blue Boy King actually finding Zorian out in the jungle, the Neath ultimate coming out, and it looks like this is going to be death. Yeah, Arctica picking that up. Meanwhile, Yaostick trying to save him with that ultimate, but it was just a waste. Man Ray going to use that ultimate to go ahead and rotate over and hold this wave to get some experience. Meanwhile, it looks like we have Souza and Yaostick. Oh, I was expecting them to go over and try to gank, but it didn't happen. I was hoping we have Blue Boy King taking these fire elementals. So Zorian, with that death, is actually going to put himself at the same level as Pride. Meanwhile, Yaostick being 2 levels ahead of Zorka, so you know, don't count KSU Thor loses out of this just yet. While Best Coast is winning, KSU definitely has a chance to come back, even though they have a Nemesis on their team. So that's pretty interesting. The mid camp is being taken right here from Best Coast West Coast. And right now, looks like there's actually in the dual lane, Octiga's letting Viper have that pressure with the G. Both having decent wave clear, but Viper is actually just letting him basically have that free pressure, while Zorian goes ahead and gets a kill onto Pride.
It's a solo kill as I come back now. Technology is a wonderful invention, and I'm glad it's a thing.
Yeah. So, hey, guess who's back?
Hey, D-Syncs is back. And unfortunately, I was unable to say synchronize with the call when it appeared. But, yeah, solo kill coming out for Zorian. And looking at, having watched this game, you have 3 kills for Best Coast West Coast and 3 deaths for Pride on this Raijin. This is kind of viewed as one of the issues with mages in the solo lane, is they die a lot. It's actually a lot of aggression going on over on the dual lane side right now.
Yeah, Yaostick actually picking up that kill onto Zorka, I believe. And it looks like Viper was killed. It looks like from gank. Meanwhile, dual lane still seeing a lot of aggression coming out. Souza having to roll away and Man Ray running away. But that root actually caught him. But, you know, the CC immunity just going to let him go ahead and roll away.
Man Ray has no fear, as he will stick around below a quarter HP right now. This is kind of one of the tales of the tape of Man Ray, as very early on in the game, I'm sure it was mentioned. Died to the tower. Got the kill, but died to the towers. Man Ray is very aggressive, has no chill, just wants to keep going 110% all the time. And in that fight, Man Ray running low on health, running low on mana in that 2v2 versus the Caprian and Isis as Osiris Gab, it's going to take that. And this is just what this player wants to do. Fortunately, cost Viper his life.
Yeah, and Right now, it looks like both the blue buffs are actually up. Pride might be able to get his second blue buff of the game without dying immediately after. Unless he dies immediately after, which I
Well,
wouldn't be surprised with Man Ray and Zorian being on the enemy team.
Well, let's see as Zorian is now walking in the lane. Does not appear as though anybody is nearby. Salza, it's actually Zorian might not get any of the XP from the blue. Yeah, they're not going to focus on ganking Pride right now. I mean, an 0-3 Raijin. Raijin's shtick is he does a lot of damage, and with this Warlock Sash, he will be a little bit tankier, but does a lot of damage. And if he's behind, well, that damage is not as scary anymore.
Yeah, and even being 0-3, he's still on the same level as Zorian, his counterpart in the duel or in the solo lane. Meanwhile, looks like there's a gank coming out from Man Ray. It looks like he's going to jump on Pride. Pride doesn't see it apparently, and they're going to jump on him. But the mini dash coming out apparently, and they're just going to disengage while the ultimate comes out from Pride. Meanwhile, a big engagement coming out on the duo side. It looks like Hui has used his ultimate, and the Suns are coming down. Meanwhile, Blue Boy King dashing out of there, and it looks like a disengagement might be coming out while Octica is just throwing those auto attacks. Spirit Ball being thrown and missed.
Just simply, simply too low. And with this Warlock Sash online, even though it's not really stacked a whole lot, Pride should be relatively safe now as long as he's by his tower line pretty much the whole game. Even from the might of Man Ray. It's over on this duo side. The gank came out. Doesn't look like any ultimates were used actually on the side of KSU, while 3 expended for Best Coast, West Coast. So KSU will probably take note of that and look to re-engage very, very shortly.
Yeah, Man Ray actually taking the camps down there, the back camps for Order side, but he left one up, so it's going to take a while to respawn, so they won't get as much experience. Meanwhile, Man Ray and Yawishik just clearing. I'd like to take a second and look at all the wards on the map, specifically on the left side towards the duo side of the map. Looks like there's 2 sentry wards and 3 regular wards, 5 total, just spread out between the teams. I like the ward coverage just coming out from both teams. It's really great seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, wards win wars, right? This is pretty much every single, as I'm pulling up the wards place right now. Both of the, actually for Salza, this is pretty much the dream if you are a support. 2 wards placed by both Yowie and Viper. Just making sure this map is officially covered in this early stage of the game, though. Kind of not a tremendous amount actually from the supports. I would have thought there would be more at this point, but they want those items. They want to be a little bit safer for themselves. The team can die. They need a ward for themselves.
Yeah, man. Who needs other players when you have your support to carry you? That's why they're called the AD support.
Yeah, this is exactly supports carry games. This is exactly how it works.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the red buff being taken by Sosa and Man Ray and Yowie Stick, actually, just splitting that experience 3 ways. And looks like there's some contention here in the mid lane for these mid camps. Spear Ball being thrown out, and Yowie Stick going to go ahead and portal out. Meanwhile, Octica jumping in, Man Ray being pulled, and the shield coming out. And it looks like they're going to go ahead and go on Citrus. Citrus taking a lot of damage. Citrus getting ulted, but the ultimate coming out from himself, actually going to save him.
As now Man Ray is going to have to jump away from this fight as Blueberry King looks to dive into the back of the fight. But as of right now, Man Ray should be safe, except for Pride has teleported in the back line, looking for the little bit of aggression. But Guan Yu's also here, and that heal's going to keep him nice and healthy. Now Pride all of a sudden is the one in trouble, surrounded by 4 members of the enemy team, and Pride will be taking a spill right now, as it looks as though Best Coast, West Coast, they're going to look for the Gold Fury now.
Yeah, there shouldn't be too much in contention for this Gold Fury with Pride being taken out, being a big source of damage in AoE, and they're not even going to try. They're just going to go ahead and clear the Gold Fury being taken by West Coast, while KSU is just going to go ahead and take their buffs. West Coast definitely in the lead and looking to be in a good position right now to win. Meanwhile, Man Ray just dying to Octica for some reason. What's going on?
Man Ray was just in their jungle fighting a full health Neith with a quarter health. I was watching that happen. I'm like, is he gonna leave? Is he gonna leave? But no, I mean, that's the quitter's route, 110%.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Viper actually being forced to run away as fast as he can with the Geb Shield coming out onto him, and you know, they were both trying to fight. It looked like, I can't really tell, but I don't know why they went in after that Gold Fury. That was a big waste.
I think that they thought that the red buff was up still, which actually that's what Neith decided to do. Neith said, hey, the Gold Fury's down. I'm just going to get farm where I can. I'm going to make sure we get our buffs, and got the red buff, which was very smart. I don't know why that aggression came out, but that fight, but the last fight, the fight just before the Gold Fury, was really, really won off of the fact that when Zorian teleported in, the Guan Yu heal at this point is before that fight, it probably was not max, but it is max now. And it came in, and the only reason Man Ray didn't die there was because he got healed up by Guan Yu, as Pride did get in some shots onto Man Ray after the heal came out, keeping Man Ray alive and just Guan Yu healing. It's just so irritating.
Yeah, and Zorian actually being, what is he? Is he? Oh, he's still on the same level as Pride actually, which is really interesting, seeing as how Pride is 0-4 and Zorian is 2-1 and 2 assists.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, these fire elementals being contested on Man Ray fighting Blue Boy King and taking a lot of his health, but Blue Boy King continuing to aggress while Yaoi Stick and Soza comes in, the ultimate coming out, and the Horsey coming out, but Blue Boy King just going to go ahead and dash away. It looks like a good disengage coming out from both teams. Meanwhile, Yaoi Stick trying to kill him with that ultimate, but looks like they're going to go ahead and chase with it. Are they going to go into that tower? It looks like Man Ray is more than willing to, even though he's at low health. With Guan Yu with him, the sprint being popped, but they're just going to go ahead and turn around and run away.
Baited. I mean, that was actually a really good bait coming out from Man Ray. At this point, with the Frostbound Hammer, very likely won't die to the Nemesis. That's no protections, but 400 health. Or 300 health, sorry, that got nerfed. Right. that item is not nearly as annoying as it was before, but 300 health on that item still. And plus the auto attack slope, knew that he more than likely wasn't going to die to Nemesis and just waited for his team to show up. And his team did, almost got to pick on the Nemesis, but so far Blue Boy King has done a very good job at staying alive. I guess every single member of KSU has done a very good job at staying alive, with the exception of Pride. Unfortunately for Pride, has really been the center, the focal point for what Best Coast wants to pick off.
Yeah, getting rid of that Raijin damage early is just a great way to be able to eliminate Pride as a player with Raijin's, one thing to go in there, do damage, and hopefully get a kill or allow his team to get a kill. Eliminating his ability to farm and just killing him is eliminating his damage and eliminating his ability to actually be a vital player in the game. Meanwhile, buffs being taken by both teams. Looks like Zorka's going to go ahead and save this so Citrus can get the experience. What a good man.
That's the mid laners we know and love. Also, small side note, Pride actually just placed his first 2 wards of the game. I've just been watching the wards play start, and Pride just got down his first 2 wards, which maybe you want to ward more, but it's shout out to Pride for 200 gold down in this lane. Even in levels, Pride is known for being this farming kind of a player, likes to split push actually. But when you split push, you learn how to farm very, very efficiently, and that's what Pride's doing right now. Kind of makes the Raijin pick a little bit surprising though, that you wouldn't pick a different god for a guy that's known for split pushing, but is really making this work out, really getting the best out of the farm here, and just trying to kind of stay even in this lane with Zorian right now. Late game will make the impact though, is going into the Breastplate of Valor, so we'll do even less damage now. Warlock Sash, very good item.
And engagement coming out in mid lane. Big ultimates coming out, being thrown in the mid lane. Meanwhile, Man Ray taking some damage. Citrus having to run away while Pride is being aggressed on. Actually, Blue Boy King being jumped on by 2 people, being taken out by Zorian with that Tallow Assault. Meanwhile, Geb rolling out. Looks like Man Ray is going to try to jump on Pride, but they're actually going to go ahead and look for Citrus here in the tower. Sosa just standing there and taking that damage while the minions are coming in.
That was just a fight that kind of burst out and actually.
Whoa! Oh. Where did he go? Is he hacking? Did he teleport? Oh no, he's just dead.
That's just the time where as a player, like, I'm fine, guys, I'm fine. All right. There's nothing to do there. Just gone immediately.
Yeah. That was crazy. Meanwhile, it looks like they Best Coast is going to go ahead and go for this Gold Fury. They have the ward coverage on it, so it looks like they do know. KSU does know that they're going for it, but they're not going to be able to contest it in any way.
Nobody's anywhere near the area. Raijin no ultimate. Neath can try and do something. Spirit Arrow does do a lot of damage, but I don't know if walking into this team comp right now is the best thing, as they're now up 7-3, 17:30 into the game. 4,200 gold to 3,700 gold. This is a very good lead coming out for Best Coast right now, and it's we've been talking about the player that's died the most, that is responsible for over half of the deaths on the team, is actually not. Is actually only down 700 gold to their counterpart. So this huge lead is just being made up everywhere else on the map, which is great because once Guan Yu hits that critical mass of really getting the heal max and actually getting full CDR, though has no CDR right now. That's really the critical mass for Guan Yu. Doesn't necessarily need that farm as much as the Raijin does, and you can get it onto your Giannis, onto your Osiris, onto all of these other players. That's just right now they are just making use of it.
Meanwhile, Man Ray in the soul lane actually being taken out by Blue Boy King. Mad aggression coming on to him. Blue Boy King gets stunned out of his dash and being taken out by Souza's auto attack.
I think that was a shockwave? Oh, wait,
The shockwave came out and then he died. It may have been a rollout, but I'm going to say it's an auto attack because it's just funny to see people die together.
Yeah, it was actually the auto. That was not rollout. Rollout was not on cooldown. So, shoutouts to Geb. I mean, Geb carry, right? This is a sports carry. You need to get your carries kills early on.
Yeah, Man Ray actually giving up that death for like no reason. I think he walked into Blue Boy King and Pride. And I think that Zorka may have been there too. I'm not sure, but I think he just walked in without his teammates being there. And then by the time they got there, they weren't enough. Couldn't do enough to help.
I mean, that Nemesis ult just destroys tanks. And the only defense right now that Man Ray has is this Hide of the Urchin, though, is going into another cloak. I don't know what this would be against this team. It's probably going to be Mantle of Discord, if I had to take my best guess, because Man Ray seems to like walking in the middle of everybody with low health. So I'd imagine that it's going to be the Mantle of Discord, but that's really kind of been the story of this game, and I think why maybe KSU isn't quite out of it, but at the same time it's working out where Man Ray's just been aggressive this whole game, has no chill whatsoever, and just keeps walking in the middle of everybody. And that's cost him his life. I mean, early on, they got the first blood, but then Man Ray died to tower, which was the loss of a 450 pot.
Oh, in the solo lane, actually, Zorian doing a lot of damage to Pride, but the ultimate coming out. Zorian under tower. It looks like he might die if Pride can do this correctly, but Zorian just going to go ahead and run away, forcing beads out of Pride. Both ultimates coming out. Zorian going to go ahead and come back in, but the Neath ultimate and the Nemesis ultimate, he got turned on so hard and baited. Oh, meanwhile, Yawistick throwing out his ultimate, and Man Ray in the backlines going on Pride, but the ultimate from Kepri coming out, gonna go ahead and save him. Meanwhile, Yawistick running in the back, getting the kill. Man Ray fighting Blue Boy King, throwing out the weakening curse, and looks like Souza ulting in, catching the dash. Looks like they're gonna go ahead and jump on Blue Boy King. Shield coming out, Viper here to the ultimate, but Sprint coming out. Man Ray missing the ultimate, jumping on a Citrus, but they're going to go ahead and disengage. Just going to put pressure on this tower here. Big rotations coming out.
It would be the best thing right now for KS to just give up this tier 2 or tier 1 tower and defend on the tier 2. I mean, you don't have a whole lot of people here. This can go very, very poorly for them very, very quickly. Citrus going to be super low on health now. That Giannis just does so much damage. And Man Ray going in. And actually, this is smart. There's no way that they can. There's like nothing that they can do against this Osiris right now. They're all too low. The Isis ult just got burned, and they're gonna lose more than just the tier 1 tower. And they probably should have given up because they're going to lose a lot more than that now.
Look over on the left-hand lane.
Oh, Octica.
Octica split pushing, so it looks like it's going to be an even trade with towers. Actually, Octica getting in the tower first. Well, both towers actually going down about the same time, but Octica's still pushing. He hasn't backed yet, and if they can stop them from backing here, then they might be able to get the... No, it looks like Souza is back, and Man Ray has backed. So they're going to go ahead and stop him. This a little bit of damage, took off a tiny bit of the feathers from the Phoenix.
It's a little bit, and that explains why they stuck around, but now actually maybe it's Octica who perhaps stuck around just a little bit too long, and no backflip for 9, and it's just very scary. Geb just walking up slowly behind you. There's very little that you can do, and now Yawistick is rotated around, lands the unstable vortex, and now Octica going to be very trying to escape for as much as he can, but Man Ray will clean the final kill with the auto attack, as Viper was there too, just in case. Octica, a little bit too big for his britches, thought that he could get it, thought that he would be okay for a little bit longer than maybe he should have, as the Phoenix will have to heal up every bit of damage that he did to it. But that was on the right-hand side of the map for KSU. Well, actually, now Viper's teleporting in, and pulled in by Citrus is going to be Viper, and Viper trying to run away, getting feared away by Pride, and he will be safe with that portal. Now Salza looking to heal for his team, keeping people off, but Yawistick will claim the life of his opponent mid laner. In the meantime, and Blueberry King is now the one in trouble, but Blue Boy King is now the one in trouble with low health, dashing away. Viper will be rooted out. Unlikely that they can find more kills here, but they're not done yet. They still want this aggression. It's Citrus isolated completely, being collapsed in on right now, as he will be brought to low health. No ultimate up for this Kepri, but now Pride's rotated in, so should be a little bit safer, and low half health for most of the players on Best Coast, West Coast, but that hasn't really stopped them at all. And Neathel gonna hit Viper in the backline.
Yeah, nothing really happening off of that, though. Viper just going to go ahead and walk away. Meanwhile, it looks like Pride and Citrus are going to actually aggress onto Yawistick and Souza here. Yawistick being at full health, pretty high mana, too, and Souza not looking bad either. Meanwhile, Man Ray jumping onto Octica, taking a lot of damage, and he looks like he is going to try to run away. Doesn't get the stun, and he takes the red buff and walks away. Actually, Citrus is here to stop him, but the incorporeal form, or no, not incorporeal. He's not soul. He's able to walk through people. That's Osiris.
He's a ghost now.
He's a ghost. No. Meanwhile, Man Ray not being able to back actually because Octa's a jerk.
Low mana. Actually, low mana, low health for a lot of members of Best Coast, West Coast. If KSU is going to look for something, they can do it. They probably can force this fight on Gold Fury right now, just because there was going to be, but no, they're not in position for it. Low health on everybody. Go for the hype plays at this point. I mean, you are down 6k gold. You need a big play, but it looks like they're just going to play that game of, hey, let's farm out, and in 60 minutes, we're going to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, this game, if I had to give it to anybody right now, it'd definitely be Best Coast, but I can't count out KSU. I would like to see KSU make a decent comeback. Not necessarily win, but, you know, fun games are fun. Meanwhile, Citrus being aggressed on over here in the dual lane, in the jungle, but Viper getting that kill. Cataclysm actually being wasted. Meanwhile, Man Ray ulting onto Octica, the shockwave coming out. And looks like the Man Ray is still aggressing onto Octica with the Gep Shield coming out. He gets the kill, and looks like they're going to go ahead and jump on Pride now. Man Ray, being the man, actually jumping out, as I say, he's man. Big rotation, everybody from KSU jumping into that left lane, along with Best Coast, West Coast. And the ultimate coming on a Man Ray, the Gep Shield coming out, getting rid of that slow. Meanwhile, Pride ulting and bringing Zorian in close. But Zorian just fighting all three of them in the backline while the tier 2 tower falls.
It's every single fight. And Citrus had no time to get off his ultimate in that fight. And actually like the no ult. I'm pretty sure it's because he didn't have time, but I like the no ult because even if Citrus had gotten off that ultimate, when you ult yourself as Kepri and you die, you're in place. And all that would have done would be a member of Best Coast, West Coast on every corner of you, and it just would have been certain death there, as the Gold Fury is going to be taken right then and there. As Man Ray is getting, it was a Spirit's Robe actually that came out for Man Ray, and is now going to be going in the Green Blade, it looks like.
Pride being aggressed on here. Kepri ult actually being thrown on the Nicest ult actually being thrown on the back line. Well, Pride is being aggressed on by Man Ray and Zorian, and he's going to get taken out by Yaoi Stick, while Citrus is being jumped on. But the sprint coming out, going to go ahead and let them go. Meanwhile, Man Ray still jumping on Zorka, being low health, he has to run away. And looks like we have Octica and Citrus fighting everybody in the team for some reason, while Citrus is going to die to Yaoi Stick. The Spirit Ball coming out, hitting Soza, and looks like Blue Boy King and Zorka are going to be able to escape here.
I mean, there's just, what do you do against this team right now? It's just, everybody's low, everybody's getting close to this point of death. Man Ray could not be closer to death right now without actually being dead. Until
Zorian actually came over and blocked the ultimate from Neath really
did he?
well. Yeah, whenever Man Ray was at like 1 HP basically, Neath was started to ult, all of a sudden Zorian just walks in the way of Neath, the ult goes off, and they both live.
Man Ray is just, this is what this player's MO is going super aggressive all the time. You see 3 deaths, basically because of it. 1 of them to the tower, 2 of them to the enemy team. Well, what's the best way to deal with a player that's just maybe too aggressive? Well, first you put him on a tank like Osiris, then you give him a Guan Yu and a Geb and a Giannis, so that way he can get out. All that's missing is if the Neath was on this team, that would just be, hey Man Ray, go as deep as you want. 6 items now with a Stone of Gaia. Go as deep as you want, you're not going to die. And that's really what KSU is running into the issue right now, as well as the fact that Pride just hasn't been doing much damage in these fights, right? It seems like every time he uses his ultimate, it just doesn't do a whole lot. It's because he's full tank outside of the Pen Boots and Warlock Sash, with the Magic Focus as well coming out. So we'll have to see what that turns into. But he's full tank. That is 2 defensive items and 1 hybrid item coming out for him.
Pride actually being the 3rd least player damage in the entire game.
And now Pride is ulting up, trying to survive, surrounded by 4 members of Best Coast, West Coast, but this is going to be done for Pride. Nothing cooking there for him, as Man Ray will claim the life of him. Is now Octica trying to jump away, trying to get away from this Man Ray, and Man Ray is just running in with no fear, switching targets to Zorka right now. They're trying to auto-attack him. 4 people are now surrounding Man Ray, and a big snipe comes out from Yaoi Stick to hit Octica, and a big unstable vortex will kill Octica. Yaoi Stick is unstoppable right now, as Man Ray will be able to escape for the time being, but now being chased down by Nemesis. But Man Ray not going to turn and try and fight it. Understands that there's all these people there. But in the meantime,
Fire Giant
structure or objectives win games, as Best Coast, West Coast will get the Fire Giant for themselves. Viper what I mean, Ho Yi just does so much damage to objectives as he actually chose to finish off this golden bow.
Zorka. Oh, you poor soul.
Zorka, please leave me alone. Zorka not going to be left alone. An ultimate from Ho Yi will claim the life of Zorka, and Viper will get that double kill, killing off the enemy support of Citrus. And now they're going to look for this, potentially the win here. They can actually probably win this game right now, as now Fry walks in. Fry trying to run away, just wants it all to stop, and very soon it might, as the Order Titan is now falling, but they look as though they're focusing on maybe killing the players as opposed to looking down.
A lot of damage on the Titan. Titan at 7k health right now. Looks like they are going to turn all their attention, besides Man Ray. Man Ray's going to try to fight them. Meanwhile, the Titan's dead, and Best Coast, West Coast wins the game with an incredible showing from Man Ray, Yowie Stick, Viper even doing well, Zorian doing really well, Souza doing really well. Just great showings from every player on this team.
That was from front to back, that was a very, very well-controlled game coming out from Best Coast, West Coast. They got the first blood very early on. They were able to shut down this Raijin, and this is the thing with flavor picks. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work, as you will see that in this case, it just did not work out very well for Best Coast, West Coast, or for KSU Thor losers, as they will go ahead and take the spill here. But this isn't it for them. They still have the losers bracket to fight from, but Best Coast, they're going to be advancing on in this tournament. And that was just great play from everybody. Yowie Stick just hit everything, it felt like.
Yowie Stick had great ultimates. He had great unstable vortexes. His portals were great to save his teammates. His ultimates saved his teammates, rotated. He was able to get great damage off. Souza doing really well getting those shields off, saving Man Ray so many times. And, speaking of Man Ray, being able to go in and just get kills, get damage off, being able to just walk in freely and, without any true problems. And helping him, we had Zorian on Guan Yu being able to heal him whenever he got low, even with the Geb shield. There's just no way that Man Ray could have died super easily there. Just great team comp, great way to play. Just really great play. Not to count out KSU Thor losers. Really, Blue Boy King doing great job. Pride being a little bit lackluster with that 0-7 score on Raijin. Maybe want to switch it back to like a Warrior or Vamana play like he has been doing. Zorka doing decently, getting off some nice damage. Octica, great split push, great farm. Citrus doing really well with those ultimates.
Yeah, it was not, the game really was kind of just lost for KSU, where they just got, at the end of the day, they just got beat. I mean, it's sometimes you just get beat, and that's really what happened there. But in the losers, this team is 5-1, so they're definitely not out of it yet. And I just want to give a shout out to Souza for playing a great support that game, playing a great game, support love. But Yowie Stick is undoubted. I think Yowie Stick it's got to be your MVP there, because whenever Man Ray went in too deep, Yowie Stick was always right there to do everything for him, as Yowie Stick will more than likely be your top player damage in the game. Yeah, 22k for Yowie Stick, coming out on top of that player damage, just doing so much work in that game.
Yeah, Yowie Stick putting out mad damage. Just had great utility overall. Man Ray being able to get good damage off too with 18,000, basically 19,000 with the amount that he had, just 6 away. That's less than 1 auto attack, and he just did a great job. Meanwhile, let's look at some of these builds really quick before we go ahead and go into a break, getting ready to transition to our next game. Looking at it, Man Ray having, he had 3-4 defensive items, just shell. He had so many ways to be protective, along with Geb shield and Guan Yu heal. His itemization was really nice too. We had Guan Yu being tanky. Yowie Stick, incredible damage. Just Urata Tahuti and Obsidian Shard do more. Probably fully stacked. Just does so much work. Do you have any final comments before we go ahead and switch into our break?
Not really. It's just we are going to see both of these teams further down the line. I would imagine KSU will be winning in the losers bracket, and that's going to be very exciting there. But Man Ray was fun to watch because the amount of times that player decided quarter health is quarter more health than I need, and just went in and fought 4v1 and died a couple times. But sets the pace for the games there. Best Coast, West Coast. for all of you East Coasters out there, watch out for them because West Coast is indeed the best coast. But we'll have to see how they fare against other teams such as team sponsors later down the road. But for right now, that should do it for us.
Yeah, that's going to be it. We're going to go ahead and transition to a small break as we get ready to go into our next set of games. So thank you guys for watching these past 2 games and sets, and I will see you guys later.
Boy.